majority of Americans nowadays are unfit, like physically unfit. So it makes them mentally weak, undisciplined, uneducated on like the importance of like what the human body can do.
Welcome to Mindset Lessons from the Field. I'm Gina Casazzo, the author of the upcoming memoir, Training with the SEAL. Today's guest is a retired Navy SEAL who embodies what it means to lead from the front. From small town Vermont to SEAL Team 3, he's spent 12 years in some of the toughest environments on Earth, both in combat and in personal growth. He didn't just serve, he led, trained, and transformed. And now, through coaching, business, and mindset training, he's helping others do the same. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to introduce you to Alex Rogers. Alex, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Gina. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I want to start with like small town Vermont. I'm from the Northeast. What sparked the Navy? What sparked the SEAL path? Let's start there.
I can't really pinpoint it exactly. I wanted to be in the military since a very young age. I think around second grade, I used to kind of just play with, the little toy, like action figures,
Mhm.
the little green army men. I used to draw like war paintings and drawings and stuff. And it just kind of stuck with me throughout my youth and then into high school. I tried to join the Marine Corps. Marine Corps recruiter came to my high school. I had a cast on at the time, so he told me to come back when it was healed up. After it healed, though, I went on a vacation with some friends, went to Florida, got a tattoo on my wrist, so they wouldn't let me join the Marine Corps. So then I started just working, doing some random stuff with no purpose really or drive, just kind of bouncing around. Then I looked at going into the Army, was going to do that, wanted to be a Green Beret or a Ranger. But the recruiter told me I couldn't just go in right as that. I had to do infantry for 5 years or so, and I didn't really want to do that, but I was about to. Then when I was leaving the recruiter's depot, they had a big wall of pamphlets. I locked eyes on the SEAL one, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" Picked it up, looked at it, and was like, "This is what I want to do." I went in the parking lot, called my friend on my little flip track phone, told him I was gonna be a Navy SEAL, and he just laughed like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And that was around probably late 2012, or no, early 2012, I think, late 2011. And then I just started going to the recruiter there. It took a little while. I felt like I was in decent shape because I played soccer and basketball throughout high school and still worked out. And I worked on a ski resort and did some other pretty physically demanding jobs. So it took a little, but I wasn't ready to take that PST, which is the 500-meter swim, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, and a mile-and-a-half run. It took a little while, but I ended up getting it and went to boot camp in June of 2013 up until, May of 29th of this year, I got out. But as far as like what drove me to be the military again, I'm not really sure. I had my great uncle was in the Army in Vietnam, and my paternal grandfather and great grandfather were both in the military as well. But no one really super close to me, and they were a lot older, so they didn't really talk about it too much to me. So I'm not really sure where it came from, but I got it and I went and did it.
It sounded like though you knew about special forces before you even were enlisted, which many people on the show didn't. They just kind of falls, right?
Yeah.
So did you do a lot of research and was like before you decided had you even stumble across that type of service in serving?
Not exactly. I mean, I played some video games when I was younger. I watched my favorite movie like of all time when I was in like elementary school. I think it was like middle school was Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis. Where they were SEALs went to do a hostage rescue in Africa and then ended up being a humanitarian mission after. And I just really liked that. And I remember this so clearly. I don't know when it was or how old I was, but I remember like leaving my house one day going to school, and I was like, I want to be like Halo qualified because I thought that like sounded so cool. I don't think I even knew what it meant. And then I remember in SQT, because we had jump like right at the end, I got like Halo qualified, and I was like, I did it. Like that's so wild that but yeah, so I just always I wanted to do something special and cool and jump out of planes, dive underwater, you know, do all that stuff.
Since you I didn't feel prepared and ready, right away.
Mhm.
Um, how were you in buds? And were you were you summer? Were you winter? You did say something about May.
I got out in May of this year, but no, I was a winter buds class. We
Did
started
that
in,
help being from Vermont? Was it
I think so.
nice?
Yeah, I'm more of a, not so much anymore, but at the time I was definitely way more like cold-blooded. I like that cold weather. I heard the summer classes were terrible. I don't know. I mean, I didn't. Went all the way through with my class. I didn't get rolled or anything. So
Okay.
we started like bow or basic orientation, and I think September started first phase in October, and then graduated third phase. I think in February or so. So yeah, it was cold the entire time.
Yeah, well, I was curious when I read Small Town Vermont. I'm like, I wonder if winter or summer because I was like, you must have had a little bit of an advantage. I mean, I know it's still cold, but Vermont
Yeah,
is I'm from Long Island, and like, it's not, we always would say like when my friends were like, "Oh, I'm going to school upstate," I'm like, "You ready for that cold?" But it's funny because then living in Los Angeles for 10 years, I was like, I went to New York just for like a week in December, and I'm like, it's freezing here, and there wasn't
yeah,
even any snow. And
right.
I'm just like, I couldn't even imagine, like, it's just when you move and things like that, it's just different, different
Uh-huh.
mindset. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So talk to us about, did you have, I mean, you went right through, no rollbacks, but did you have any struggles? Was there any like hard moments? Was there any moments too where you were just like, what was I thinking?
The only time I really thought, what was I thinking, was in boot camp. I remember being there, like, I have made the biggest mistake of my life. I hate this. I hate everything about this.
What did you hate about it? Tell me.
I don't know. I'd like we did barely slept. My RDCs, I forget what that stands for, but like the instructors or whatever, they treated us like they were buds instructors and we were buds students, which is not their job. They were all miserable. I hated it. But it was funny because like all the people I really connected with thought the same thing. They're like, this is so stupid. I can't believe I did this. This isn't what I thought I was going to be. And then some people are like, well, this is just boot camp. Like take this as like motivation to not quit because this is what the regular Navy is going to be like. I was like, okay. Well, and everyone I like feels the same way about this. So that was the only time I was like, what am I doing? This is terrible.
And how long was that?
Uh, 7 weeks, I think, 7 or 8 weeks. And I hated every minute of it. And yeah, it was crazy. But then in Buds,
How'd you keep showing up then? I mean, I know you're in contract, right? But the thing is like how
yeah,
for those civilians that are like listening, like I know for myself, and I've mentioned this a couple of times on the show, there was a job that I had that it was an ends to a means. And it was just like I hated every second of it. It was miserable. But I'd give myself like 2 minutes to cry before I walked into that job. And then when I walked in, it was like smile on my face, positive to everybody, right?
yeah,
And when I did the Navy SEAL prep program, I mean, now I used to always say to myself, I'd look around, I'm like, why would anyone sign up for this? None of this is fun for me, like at
yeah.
all. But I had an end goal, which was this mindset of being stronger, right? Than
Mhm.
everything. So I want to know, what was that for you that, you know, that you, or what did you do? Was there anything specific that you did that helped you get through it?
Yeah, I mean, they gave some good classes on mindset in my recruiting district before I left in New England, which was nice. There was an active duty SEAL and retired SEAL Master Chief there that kind of ran it. But I think being in boot camp, what kind of really kept me going was one, it's shared suffering with everyone there. You find people that are like-minded and you connect and bond that way. Same thing, sort of, it's like it's gonna end, like you're
Yeah.
like, okay, it's only 7 weeks. Like if I can't do this, like there's no way I can do that. It's gonna end. That's not gonna be your life. That you're not gonna be stuck in this, white tile room for long. You're not going to be marching around for long. Like it's going to end. Like you have to do this. This is the entry, and like everyone has done this. Suck it up, basically. In a few short weeks, it'll be over. Then you're going to start working out and going to the pool and like getting fit again. You have a lot more fun. Maybe you can go to Chicago. Back when I was there, I think it's in San Diego now. And then a few weeks after that, you're going to be feeling really good. You're going to be feeling prepared mentally and physically, and you're going to be in Coronado. There's a lot of worse places to be. and not many better. So, and that's what keeps me going. So I think really just like this will end, and I have so much more to look forward to. And then you just find your tribe, find your people. It could be one, it could be 10, whatever. But find people that kind of feel the same way about you, have that purpose, have that drive, hold each other accountable, and then just try to make connections. Whether that's the phone call you get every like 2 weeks or whatever it was, or sending mail, and then just talking to your whatever free time you do have. Enjoy the free time. I always trying to find something to laugh about in even the worst circumstances, and that's always kind of kept me going. I know it definitely annoyed some people because like you're always making a joke about like this is serious. Like yeah, it is, but not that serious. So I just felt loose because I would be joking around, and again, some people didn't like it, some people loved it, and I made their day. So
Yeah.
and they return and in the return for me. That's what my advice for that.
Is that some of the mindset training that they taught you?
Not directly. I think just I watched people a lot, try to pick up things because being from Vermont, I wasn't exposed to a ton of people, a ton of different things. So I think I lacked life experience. So I was always very curious.
Hmm.
And what I did notice from like that I don't even remember his name. I just called him SO1. But the active duty instructor when I was doing the PSTs in New England, he was like a scary dude. I mean, I probably wouldn't be afraid of him now, but at the time I was just like, "Oh my god, this guy is terrifying." But he would always say stuff that was like really funny at the same time. And the Master Chief was the same way. Very serious, like when it was time to do something, when they were putting out instruction, it was like there was no joking around. But then after, when it's time to do the work, they didn't care. You could be super like laser focused and whatever, or you could have fun with it. Like you're doing push-ups. You don't have to frown to do push-ups, Like you can have fun.
No, I get that. I actually was just talking about this yesterday. I was talking about how I used to smile like when we'd be running. And
Hmm.
I mean, I hate running. I was terrible at running. They could all tell you I was like last almost every single time. And
Yeah.
they would be coming back from the run, and Gina would just be like, we'd be passing each other. And they'd always like, you always have this smile on your face. And I'm like, it's because I'm 2 seconds away from crying.
Yeah.
And it's just
Uh-huh.
miserable. But yeah, you're right. Finding that um in there. And I mentioned in the beginning, you spent 12 years in some of the toughest environments. Um,
Mhm.
what was that like for you, and how did you get through that?
Well, that it's funny you say about the smiling because I would do that too. I did that throughout buds, throughout SQT, training, deployments, like just forcing yourself to smile because you have control over that. You don't have control over anything external. So it's like if you want to have a bad day, you're gonna. If you want to have a good day, you're going to. So got really into stoicism as well. I'm religious, so I would just try to, control my emotions, control my, my fears, look for things to be optimistic about. Again, build connections because the thing is on deployment, like deployment will end, but whatever you're doing, you don't know.
Hmm.
Like you could die.
Yeah.
So it's no longer like boot camp or like log PT or surf torture or whatever, terrible evolution you had to do to like get where you are right here. You're like, I know that'll end. This I don't know. So you have to go a little bit past the this will end. Now that's probably not common for most people, but in the like regular workday life, like you could be like, I can't. It's 9 a.m. and I'm off to a bad start. This person did this. This person did that. And like, what do I do? So that's when I would just like, and that had happened to me all the time. I was like, I just need to smile. I need to not, shut myself down because then it'll look like it's getting to me and my emotions are taking control. I need to find someone to talk to, make a joke with, laugh about, and like find something to just keep me going until the next thing. And whether I think it's true in real life outside of buds too, but like just make it to the next meal. Like most jobs, you get a lunch break, right? So I'm going to smile, I'm going to tell jokes, I'm going to do my work. And then when I get to lunch, I'm going to go for a walk, I'm going to decompress, I'm going to call whoever. that person is. So I think that the importance of human connection is huge with struggles like this. But if you can't do that, I would just say, talk to yourself and just force the smile. I feel like that is so powerful. Just like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna smile right now.
It
So
is. The smile is very, very powerful. I used to tell this to people. I was a life coach for a short time in my 20s, barely had my own life together. And yeah, people were calling me for life advice. And I just remember like that was one of the biggest things I used to tell people. I'm like, just smile. I'm like, I do it all the time. It's just like you can't be mad or like upset. And like when you just have a smile on, like, I don't know, it just does something to your body. We're just like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. There's something that happens that's magical when you just throw that smile on. Any stories that you have for us during your 12 years that were close calls or moments of where you really had to dig deep in mindset or maybe anything that you learned in leadership or teamwork, things that translate to but we're going to get to it, like what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Probably one that kind of first pops into my head, though. I've found this really funny. Again, maybe that's just me because I know there was some people that wasn't. But we were in, I was in Hell Week. We had to. I don't remember what we had to do. It's funny how when you talk about Hell Week, some people remember certain things really clearly, and then the people tell you something you did, and you're just like, I did what? And you don't even remember. But this thing I remember pretty clear. We were in our boat crew. We had to like build something with like all the stuff, like our paddles, our life jackets, the boat, and like some other stuff that they brought out. But they picked one person, my friend Richie. He was like the leader, so we had to do what he said, but he wasn't allowed to say anything. We couldn't. No one was allowed to talk, but so he had to use like body language, and it was completely silent. And I remember, and we each had like each boat crew had an instructor like watching to make sure because if you spoke like you were getting beat, which is like some sort of physical exercise or getting wet is what we just call it, getting beat. And like he gave the instructions, and then probably 10 seconds after he's like, all right, go. Richie just looks at all of us and goes, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. And then there was like two guys, one of them I honestly to this day I still don't like. Everyone else just started laughing, and then we're like, dude, it's supposed to be silent. And we thought it was so funny. The instructor even laughed a little bit too. And we still all got beat, but it was just like a funny thing, like
Yeah.
this guy's over here like all mad. And my boat crew was all kind of like me. We're all kind of clowns, honestly. But we did really well. So I think there's some parallels there. That's a good one. I think is just like being able to laugh at something, even if it's there's consequences. Here
Right.
it's push-ups and getting wet, but this will end. This I
Yeah.
can endure. I can endure this.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to laugh a little bit, even if like you're gonna get in trouble.
Mhm.
Because like I think a morale boost is more important than anything else
Mhm.
because it'll carry you through the next thing. Hey, remember that time when this happened? Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, and actually, our class motto, and I got it tattooed on me, is the "Laugh now, cry later." That's just kind of how we approached everything. Not just me, but that was the theme for the class. We had to paint a rock for like a cartoon for in second phase, and we put that on there. And I did like the two masks that people use in theater. Like one's
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah. So I have it tattooed on me. Like, oh, were you in theater or anything like that? Remember the first time they asked me, I was like, no. Why did you ask me that? Does it look like I am? They're like, no. Well, the tattoo. And I was like, oh, right. That's from like laugh now, cry later, because that's how we did the entire buds. It's like
Mhm.
this sucks. I'm upset, but I might as well find something to laugh about.
Yeah.
So buds to me was truly the funnest time I'd never want to have again.
Oh my gosh, I say that
Yeah.
with the prep program. Like, oh, it's such a fun time to look back on. And then sometimes I get asked, and we're going to talk about SEAL Force because I was looking at that, and I got asked to do another thing recently, and I was like, I've done that. Like, I don't want to go back. Like, and
Yeah.
it's probably different with all different each one. They're
Mhm.
they're a little different, but that's my check off. It was the most miserable time, but it was also the people you're around make it like I've never been around more hard chargers in my life. I've never been around more people that like I said to a friend the other day, I'm like, yeah, I really want to do this thing. I think you walk for 24 hours, you don't stop. And like all my friends were like, that's ridiculous. Like, why would you even do that? And they were
Yeah.
like, whoa, no way. And like we all know it's gonna suck and it's gonna be miserable. But what you're gonna learn from that and the person that comes out of that, it's two totally different things. And only they can understand that, right?
Right. Yep.
Um, and I think that's really cool. So I want to ask then, as I'm talking about this now, like, because you recently transitioned, right?
Mhm.
How is it from being around those types of people, right, to then the civilian world? And have you found it challenging, or how was this transition for you?
Yeah, no, it was definitely a lot. It is a lot harder than I thought. I mean, I haven't been out that long, like a month and a half. Yeah, no, it's different. It's definitely different.
Though, well, let me just stop you right there. Did you decide I'm ready to go, or was it a forced, a push out?
No, no, yeah,
Right.
I wanted to. I kind
Prep
of.
for this then, and it's still challenging? Like, did you like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do next, or hey, I'll figure it out, like, when I get out where I'm gonna go from here?
I kind of bounced around a lot of what I was going to do. I had a lot of different ideas. I was still kind of on the fence of whether I was going to get out or not up until probably November. And then I was just like, okay, I'm doing it. I was signed up for some different transition programs to help people like me, whether it's SOF or there's some veteran and elite athlete. And the two programs I took the most out of, I think, were the Honor Foundation. So I think they deserve a huge shout out as well. And then the Tuck Next Step, which is through Dartmouth's Tuck School of Business, which was absolutely phenomenal. And that was really cool to be around a bunch of veterans and elite athletes. Most of the people in there, the athletes were Olympians. Being in a room like that, I was like, I don't think you can ever do this again. Like being in a room full of 50 people who have done like incredible things. Like, and it's funny because everyone in there was like, I shouldn't be here. Like, I don't belong in this group. And you're like, but we're all here, so it was very cool. But yeah, it's been challenging. I don't have a job right now per se. Like I don't work for anyone. I have my clothing company, Look for Work Clothing Co. The coaching stuff is in there as well on the same website. So I'm trying to build that out.
Oh, it's entrepreneur route is where you're going.
Yep. Yeah, so I do that, and then I train and compete in jiu-jitsu a lot.
Cool.
And so I don't get paid for it, but maybe one day I'll make something. But
Mhm.
I use that to kind of build out the company and vice versa. And then I'm gonna do that, strictly that, for the summer. And then I'm starting, well, I guess the summer's almost over. I'm starting my executive MBA next month. That'll be I'll be like a full-time student while still running the business and trying to compete as much as I can.
This podcast episode is brought to you by Thrivers Coffee. Podcast guest Nick McKinley's company, Deliver Fund, brings you guys Thrivers Coffee. It is ethically sourced, it's organic, and it supports traffic survivors. That is right. Thrivers Coffee is all about empowering us to making a difference in the fight to end human trafficking. That's why 100% of the proceeds go directly towards their goal of bringing freedom to victims of human trafficking. So if you guys love coffee that is organic, ethically sourced, and tastes absolutely delicious, and want to help to end the fight of human trafficking, check out Nick McKinley's company, Thrivers Coffee. What has been the hardest part for you with this transition?
I think the biggest thing is when I was in, people, I always heard throughout the whole time I was in, like, what do you do when you grow up? And I just kind of laughed, like, what do you mean? I'm an adult, I'm a Navy SEAL. And then you get out and you're like, oh, I, I'm a child. Like everything was taken care of for me. I was paid every 2 weeks, no matter what. All my medical was taken care of. My dental stuff was taken care of. If I had a problem, I went to somebody and it like was fixed. If I needed something for work, it was given to me. When you get out and you're like, oh, I don't. I have my healthcare and stuff figured out now, but I didn't for like a couple weeks, and I had some medications that I had to go get, and I like didn't go get them because like I can't afford that right now. And I was like, oh, this is why everyone talks about healthcare. So that was like that hit me of like, oh, people aren't being babies, like this is a real thing. So there was a lot of just moments like that, like
Yeah.
things that are so common and normal for everyone else is what 1% of the population's in the military. So when I was like, I can do all these things, or I can't do these things. This isn't provided for me. So I think that was challenging. Not having like a new job to hop right into
Mhm.
was interesting for sure. Even though that's not what I wanted to do the entrepreneurial thing, but still, it was weird. It's like, wait, I don't have to report to anybody. Like I don't have to tell anyone this or that. Yeah, it was nothing was like challenging. It was just a lot of new things and perspective opening up, and you realize like kind of how small of a box you were in when you're in the military. Even though I had a ton of freedom as a SEAL, like a ton. That's speaking in the military, not for
Yeah.
you know civilians.
Yes. No, I understand that. Yeah, I feel like, well, it's funny because I've become friends with so many people on this podcast, and a lot of them are entrepreneurs. And it's funny because I'll touch base with them like later on, and I'm like, what's going on? And they're running their business or whatever, but they're like, man, war was so much easier.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I can't understand. But then again, I'm an entrepreneur. I run a nonprofit and a business. And most of the time I don't even know what I'm doing. I mean, no, all of the time I am clueless, right? And like, but
yep,
and the thing is you have nobody telling you what to do. And sometimes I'm just like, just tell me. Just can someone just sit here and tell me if I do this, this, and this, like this is what I'm supposed to do in order to get here? Because I want to get here, but I don't know how to get there. Right.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's just like that's my life right now. And it's just so challenging. How does your time in the SEAL teams and everything that you went through help you mindset wise to be in the position in that? How do you feel it helps you in terms of the entrepreneurial world?
I think that it's made me fearless, very, able to take big risks. I'm glad that I started doing it because I started my clothing company in October of 22, so I was still, in the Navy, of course, and I had that steady income, so it made me be like, well, I can do this because
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah,
a
it's
paycheck come in.
nice.
So I think I'm a little different probably than like someone who just graduated high school or college and wants to start a business that doesn't have that. But for me, being in the military, that it kind of, and then I think if you even peel back some more layers too, just throughout the training and the resiliency and everything, is just like this will end. I'll find a way. Like I'm a problem solver. I know that I will make this work. But I think I got that kind of twofold with the military stuff and like not quitting, being super resilient, and then like the steady income, because I still do that now, and like I don't have an income right now. I have my VA disability, but that's not. So I'm making less than I was, but I'm still like, I'll find a way to fix this. And if you watch other entrepreneurs, like Alex Hormozi is one of my favorites. It's just like if you're not successful, it means you're not either not working hard enough or you haven't been doing it long enough. There's been a few times where I'm like, this sucks. Like nothing's happening. Like
Yes,
I'm
when
like,
nothing's happening is very relatable. Yeah.
yeah, and you're like, should I just stop this and you're like, well, no, I shouldn't because I started for a reason. I was fired up then. Again, smile. Like I
Mhm.
have this, I have a business. I have an opportunity that's 100% on me to do something great and build something huge, memorable that I can pass to my kids. I can sell. I can do all these. Like I have such a great opportunity right now. I should smile about this, and I should look for holes and plug them, and I can reach out to people. Again, the human connection is so important, not just for your mental health, but for your financial health as well. I think just keep going, really, is what it is. Like you either work harder or wait. It's gonna happen eventually. Like where I am now compared to where I was a year ago is vastly different.
Right.
Like if you like financially, it doesn't feel like it. but like I've met a ton more people. I do a ton more business. Like, so it is working. And it's really, it's just keep going. Like, don't give up.
Mhm.
And that's such a simple thing to say, but that means it's a simple thing to do. Like, just keep doing. Like, make that Instagram post, make that LinkedIn post, talk about your business, get some business cards made. Like, continue to feed yourself so you're not starving on like from externally. Like, if no one's going to feed you, you have to feed yourself. So just keep feeding yourself to keep that fire going, and eventually someone's like, they're just going to be proud that to see you haven't quit. And I've had that happen. I had someone say the other day, I was at the gym doing a rolling with, and one of the guys, we talked about this latest like reel that I made about just working out with my nieces, and he just came up to me and was just told me like how much that meant to him. And to me, it was just a normal thing. And that's happened a lot, I think. And that's really what keeps me doing what I do, is that the more you do, the more people see it, and you don't even know like what effect it has on them. No one's ever came up to me like, "Yeah, that post you made the other day was stupid. I wish you wouldn't do that." Like, maybe people think that, but no one says it. So what you do here is like positive reinforcement. He's like, I got off my couch and I went and did my workout because of that. And I've had quite a few people be like, your stuff has literally changed my life. And I'm just like, that's just what I do normally. Yeah, that's another reason like to don't give up. Like, and again, you have to open up your perspective, take those blinders off, make that human connection and be approachable and smile. Just smiling makes people want to talk to you anyway. And you never know what kind of difference you're going to make.
At what point would you say do you abandon something in terms of like you set a plan, you go course, it happens all the time, right? You guys set up, that's why you have a pace plan, right? Because
Yeah.
you have the primary, the alternate, right? At what point do you go, all right, especially as an entrepreneur, you throw a bunch of things on the wall, right? Which
Hmm.
then is a lot of time and effort because you're doing different things to find one that's going to work and then you go in that direction, right? Um at what point do you then abandon certain roads and you're like, you know what? That one is just not going to work. Whereas like people are like, no, just keep posting or keep doing this or keep doing that. But at what point would you be like abort and let's move on?
Yeah, well, I did that actually. I I tried starting this other company, Frigid Frog, where I sold ice tubs, portable like cold plunge tubs. Yeah, just it didn't work out, and I had it was an extra thing on top of the clothing thing, on top of the coaching thing, on top of being in the military, on top of like being a full-time student. So it was just like you really got to assess like, is this, do I need to start another business when I'm barely doing well with the other one? I think that was a big thing for me. It didn't, I sold like two. I still have three. Actually, they're out back my house right now. So
Everybody's interested. Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, I think it depends on the person, but before you either start a business or buy a business, like you really need to do a market analysis and or a SWOT analysis and be like, am I hopping into a market that's like completely flooded, like, and I don't really have anything that really pops and makes it different than anyone else? Are my prices competitive or even above that? When I first started selling mine, I was like, I'm way cheaper than everyone else because I was going directly to the supplier that everyone else is getting. They're all literally all the same tub, just a different logo on it. And then like people started buying them in bulk because the more you buy them, they all come from China. You start buying them in bulk and you get them cheaper and cheaper. And next thing I know, like I went from being like $1,000 cheaper than the next person to like $800 more expensive than the new average. And I'm just like, well, I can't do this.
Yeah.
So,
How does
because
that
I,
feel for you though? Like for me, I had that. I had a business that and I will say like to me it seemed it was cool. People were loving it. I probably came down to my terrible marketing, but it was just it just was like also people didn't really understand it until they saw it. It was a crystal bracelet that connected to your phone. But you didn't have to use the bracelet to connect to your phone and you could just go to the website if you wanted and it gave you all these mindset tools. So it was like the bracelet was really like that trigger of like, hey, I'm not in a good place, let me get myself into a good place, and then it
yeah,
gave you all those tools, right? And I was like, oh, this is fantastic, right? However, um, at some point I had to be like, I've been at it so long. I've been, moving forward. I have to move on because I got this book. I'm moving in this direction, podcast. I have to let this go. But you do sometimes feel like a failure. Essentially, is what it comes down to. You're just like, did I give it my all? You reassess. Should I go back to it? I have all the stuff. It's like, at what point, like, did you feel that way? Did you feel that failure, sort of? Did you feel, and how did you like move on from that?
I didn't really feel a failure. I definitely felt kind of not good about it, like
Mm-hmm.
because I'd never quit anything really
Mm-hmm.
before, and I was like ingrained into you, never quit. If knocked back down, get back up every time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think that some that we used to, still kind of say it, not as much anymore because it's kind of mean. But sometimes your best isn't enough. I hope you're not giving your best, because if you are, that's embarrassing. But if you're not giving your best, that's also embarrassing. So it's like a lose lose. But with that, I was giving my best, but I was giving my best at everything. So I was giving my best at that, but I couldn't give it everything I had
Right.
because I was giving so much here and so much there and so much there. So I think if you really just kind of narrow down that scope of like what is truly important, what do I really want to build? Maybe as my capabilities expand, as I get more and more experience and older and wiser, I can, people, there's plenty of people who manage multiple businesses. I can't
Right.
do that right now,
Right.
especially like at the time being active duty, being a full-time college student, being a dad, being in, already a demanding career. It was just like, I'm trying to do my best in all these different things, but then it just kind of made everything come down. Like I'd
Mm-hmm.
be on the range, and I'm on my phone, like trying to manage a business. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, well, I'm here. I'm doing. It's like, no, you're not. You're not here, but you're not really there either. You're not. You can't focus on what you need to do on your phone because you're supposed to be watching people shoot machine guns.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a really kind of hard realization for me of like, I'm not giving my best at anything, because like you can't multitask. It's like multi-shift in like milliseconds. And when you're constantly switching back and forth, there's a lot of gaps that are that start to expand. So I think that if you go in on something, go all in, cut out unnecessary noise and distractions, find people that support you and want to help you, and then just be selfish with that time. And if you don't want to do that, or you start to feel it slip, and then again you do a analysis of like your competition and stuff, like just be realistic. Like, okay, this isn't working. I love this idea. Let me pivot to something else. You should always be proud that you started something. You picked up that book, whether it's something as simple as that, or you started a business. Like you started that. Like now, and maybe you needed some more tools, maybe you need some more time. Who knows? But like you started, so remember that, and then you can do it again. Focus on that stuff, not really like it failed, the business failed.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And I
Mm.
want to I want to talk about Salesforce that you got going on, this business
Mm.
that you have, everything, and what made you decide to go this route? Tell us about it. And also, what do you feel that civilians are lacking that this could gain, that they can gain from something like this?
Yeah, so one of my friends, he's a civilian. I've known him for a long time, but he was like, he really wanted to do this. And I was like, again, I've got a lot of stuff going on. If you want to do it, I'll give you like some blurbs and some time, but I cannot build a website. I can't do any of this. I'm focused on my clothing company and my coaching stuff. But if you want to do this, like, let's do it. But you're doing it. So he had a guy. He made the website. We talked, and then it like kind of got more and more attention from me. I'm like, oh, this is legit. He knows a lot of people, very well connected in you know, his area. That's kind of how it started. And then the second part of like, what can civilians get from this? I think that one, majority of Americans nowadays are unfit, like physically unfit. So it makes them mentally weak, undisciplined, uneducated on like the importance of like what the human body can do mentally, as well as what I guess I'm trying to say is like your body can do so much more than you think. If you get people in a group or with a coach, they're going to do better. And the benefits of that are so much more than just like, you broke a sweat and you worked out. Like if you start pushing people, especially like I was pushed throughout training or even deployment, you start to see like I can do so much more than I think.
Hmm.
Like, and then if you already have a successful business or a solid resume with a good degree or whatever, like y- you know that you're mentally capable of doing that stuff.
Right.
So let's add a physical part of it too, and then build, kind of like make the circle whole. Like I can do everything because I push myself to do this, so I can push my brain to do this. I think that that's what there's a lot of that missing. I think that people are lazy a lot of the time too. What it's like 30% of Americans are obese. It's like that's sure that's a food problem. I don't want to get into that, but I think a lot of people just don't work out. People think it's crazy that I work out 2 times a day and like go to the gym. It's like, well,
I
yeah, that's
had
my
someone say to me the other day, they were like, I was going to the gym and they were like, why do you go to the gym when you look like that? I go to the gym because I said I look like this because I go to the gym.
yeah,
And they're like, well, if I look like that, I wouldn't be going to the gym. And I'm like, you're not going to look like this. Like, it's just not going to happen.
right,
I'm like, this is the mindset of people these days. And I'm just like, and I'll tell you, my blood is boiling these days, and my blood doesn't boil. Like I am to me, I'm like, oh, I'm chill, right? My family's like, you're not chill. But anyway, I have a nonprofit, and I do these events, and we have like this Battle of the Cake event, and we have these other events, and I'm so excited that I'm doing like clean eating. And I'm like, and they're like, how is it going to be cake and clean eating? I'm like, listen, I have 3 rules, and it shouldn't be this hard. It's like no artificial dyes, no bleached product, no bleach flour, no bleach, just no bleach product. And number 3, which is the kicker for everybody, is no seed oil. And someone said to me, they're like, oh, really? We can't use canola? And I'm just like, and I just, my blood is boiling. And they go, why do you even care what people are eating? And I go, you know why? Because it affects me. Because you know what? This whole, you don't realize it just all affects all Americans in general because of your poor choices and because you don't even want to be educated. And they're just lazy. And we can't even, like, blood boils. It
yeah, yep.
boils.
I mean, I get the same way when people talk about fitness, and because that's what that video I made the other day. That guy was telling me that changed his whole look on working out. It was me doing like an exercise with my nieces. It's like she has a gym there, but my sister-in-law, it was in their basement, but it's like I can go and do that, and sure the kids will see it. But now, one, I'm doing a workout with my kids or her kids, so I'm bonding with them. They think they're having the time of their life, like they're riding on my legs, or I'm doing like presses with their little bodies,
Yeah.
and like they're having a ton of fun. I'm still like getting a pretty decent little workout, and then because even if I get tired, they're like, keep going. You're like, oh, I was doing push-ups with them on my back, and there's 3 of them, so they all want to turn to like do push-ups on Uncle Al. It's like, yo, this is turning into like way more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So so when people are like, I don't have time to go to the gym, it's like, do you have a kid? Like, yes, then use your kid. One, it's going to make them like love it.
Yeah.
So you're going to connect with them while it's a win-win for you because you're getting something physically out of it. And if you don't have a kid, like fill up a water jug and like do curls, bent over rows, presses. Like there's 1,000 things you can do. And then, or go to Home Depot and buy a cinder block, for $5. Like, so people are like, I don't have time to go to the gym. It's like, no, you're lazy. There's no other way to put it. Like, it's that simple. You're lazy. And
Do
I,
you
when,
find
and
that very high and frustrating? Like for talk about SEAL Force, it's like, is it like a day? Is it a week? Is it a weekend? Like, and are you doing train like, or is it going to be like an event that you want to put on and things like that? Because I am always curious. I always am inspired by anyone that's at the gym. I don't care what shape you're in. I don't care anything like that. Like the fact that
right,
you're there,
you're there. You started.
yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I give you props because I find that people are excuses. Like, oh, I was walking around the lake the other day and I was so hot, and I'm walking with a friend and I'm like, don't complain. She's probably just as hot as you, right? Don't complain. But then my body is like, and my mind is getting into that negative loop. And I said to myself, I'm like, listen, if we're going to keep this negative loop going, we're going to go around a third time. So let's
Right.
lock it up, and we lock
Yeah.
it up. But I really equate that program to the way that I am now in terms of that mindset thing. So let's talk about that for a little bit.
About SEAL Force?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what you're hoping that the people are gonna get out of it.
One, I'll talk about mindset and like
Yeah.
resiliency, talk about, nutrition, talk about, working out, structuring workouts, longevity, adding in mobility, flexibility stuff, balance, not just strength and, conditioning stuff, but like try to get the whole picture out there. A lot of it will be body weight stuff. Like I love saying this. I always say this when people are getting tired. It's like cardio is free. It's free to do burpees in your living room. It's free to do push-ups, in the family bathroom at the airport if you don't want to do it in front of everybody. Like, it's free to go for a sprint in the field. It's like, don't tell me you don't have running shoes, because you can go do, like, if sure you don't want to go run a couple miles in whatever shoes, but you can go do sprints in pretty much anything,
Mhm.
or take them off and run on the grass. So I always say, like, cardio is free. There's no excuse not to get to work. If you want to be a power lifter, that's a different story. But you want to, not be fat and lazy, go do some sprints and do some push-ups. It's free. That's why people talk about prison fit. It's the same thing. Um, so where SEAL Force comes in is like, now you're going to get like some actual structure. You're
Mhm.
going to get some coaching. You're not going to be around a bunch of people with face tattoos who are, going to try to stab you in the shower. That's a joke. Well, it's not a joke. That will not happen. I promise you that. But so you'll get to see kind of like what the human body can do. You'll get to open up your aperture to like, oh, I can do this type of workout with almost nothing.
Mhm.
But now I'm doing it with a group of people led by someone who's done this before. He's done hard things, not just because he's up there yelling at me, but because he's actually done it and he's just sharing experiences. Somebody used to say this when I was in the teams, like, you can't teach experience. It's like, that's true, you can't, but you can articulate it the right way, where with the right group of people, they can kind of absorb what you're saying,
Mhm.
and then you can, grow together with that. I'm not trying to be a buds instructor. I never was. I never claimed to be, but I've definitely yelled at people when they aren't doing what they're supposed to do. So that's not what this is about, though. It's about trying to get people to push themselves mentally and physically,
Mhm.
mostly through physical, hardships, but it's going to be fun. You're going to bond with people. You're going to find your different parts of yourself that you didn't know were there. And you're going to learn a thing or two about physical fitness, nutrition, teamwork, mindset, resilience, and some other things as well. Just don't quit, because if you quit, you probably won't learn anything.
I like that a lot. Coach Mack used to say to all of us that you don't train this hard and not know who you are. And he's like, and the thing is, and like, it took me a really long time to understand it, but like, he was so right in terms of, you learn, like, are you a self motivator? Are you gonna, because you had to work out outside of the program and stuff, are you a procrastinator? Do you show up on time? Do you show up for yourself? Do you follow through? Like, you learn all these things about you that you don't observe and really see until you're in programs like this. And I think that it's pretty life changing. So I totally am supporting this thing. This is so cool, and I really like that. You should
Mm.
definitely have t-shirts about, like, being fat and lazy. Um,
I'll make some.
we
Yeah.
we actually have t-shirts that everyone comments on it, and it's Green Beret. Chris Lee's been on the show a couple of times, and he said it. And since he said it, I made it a t-shirt because it's just brilliant. And when I go to the gym, I wear the shirt and it says, look good naked and be hard to kill. And that's like the physical model of just like, you want to look good, right? And the way to look good is eating healthy and going to the gym, right? And things like that. And then be hard to kill. That's from residue of him. But it's just like, the way to be hard to kill is to train, right? To be
Yeah.
strong and to be aware of who you are and things like that. And
Hmm.
yeah, it makes a good t-shirt. So,
Yeah.
but as you kept saying fat and lazy, I kept going, that makes a good t-shirt,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so my final question to you on the show is, what do you have for us everyday civilians who are looking to strengthen their mindset to tackle the hard challenges that come our way?
Well, that kind of feeds into the name of my clothing company, which is LFW, or Look for Work. And the quick story of that is when I was going through training through assaults, and then when I was an assaults instructor, if you're not actively like guns down, like clearing the building, your guns checked up like this. I heard this all the time. It was like, checked up isn't a job, look for work. So that's kind of the mindset I took to my civilian life, or life outside of the teams, is like, look for work. You're like, if you're checked up, you're not doing anything. Someone else is solving problems. Someone else is gaining ground, whether it's your peers or it's the enemy. But you're not doing anything. You're not being value added. Make sure you're looking for work. Be proactive. Look for things. Smile, and just understand that momentum builds momentum. The rolling stone gathers no moss. Right. So just stay active, and when you're feeling down, make a human connection, talk to somebody, smile. Again, like, that is so important. Like, we both have agreed on that from the beginning of the show. um and I mean, and don't quit. It's, again, like, it's such a simple thing, but make it simple. Like, okay, I'm gonna keep doing this. And if you hate what you're doing, look for something else. Don't stay where you're at, because now you're just checked up. You're checked up and while someone else is gaining ground and doing whatever. Look for work. Go find something new, and just don't stop.
I love that. Thanks so much, and we're gonna put that in the notes, the show notes too. Your clothing line, look for work, and all that other stuff that we were talking about. Thank you so much for being on the show. Really fantastic.
Yeah, it was an honor. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Oh, of course. And everyone that's listening, please like, share, comment, subscribe, become a Substack member. It's really fun over there, and only our Substack members get those extra goodies. So come on over, and thank you guys. I'll see you guys all